I'm sitting upstairs because... Hold on. I'm sitting upstairs because I live up there. I live upstairs. So I'm upstairs a lot. I'm sitting up there and the wife says, good news. They're coming out with a vaccine. I'm going to be able to, because I'm a nurse. This is what she's saying, okay? I don't know if it's true. So you might want to fact check that. But she tells me that the vaccine is coming out the first week of January. And she's going to be able to take it. And the pandemic is going to be over. What's wrong with me? It's the coffee that makes me do that. Did you know that? And the wine. And I'm like, oh, that's great news. The pandemic, is it pandemic or pandemic? It's a pandemic, is going to be done. It's going to be over soon. This is me warming up, guys, okay? So bear with me. Remember, we've been through this. The pandemic is going to be over because a vaccine's coming in January. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be happy about that, right? Why do I feel not happy about it? Like, that's weird. And I asked myself, why aren't you happy? Oh, here she comes. Hello? Tara? What you doing? Okay. I can't talk when she's around. She's going to do laundry and turn on the washing machine. Hey, Tara? What? Can you not do laundry right now, please? Don't try to be on your show, okay? I'm not trying to be on the show. I can hear the washing machine. She turned on the washing machine. Anyways, I'm supposed to be happy about this, right? But then I started thinking, oh man, I kind of like being cooped up. I guess I like it. I didn't really... She's listening. I like being cooped up. Now I have to... And it gives you something to talk about, right? Maybe that's why I'm a little... Easy for me to say. I don't have to worry about money. Really, maybe nothing has changed for me. Because I've been isolating myself for quite a while now. I like it. And now I got to plan trips. You know what I mean? There's already talk about people wanting to go to Vegas. And I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of like staying home. Fixing the house. It was like camping. I can't use any of this. Because who in their right mind would be disappointed that a vaccine's coming out? Maybe I was prepared. I thought maybe into summer. I need to start this shit all over. Hey guys, Clint here. How you doing? Former cop talking about cop stuff. Do you remember this video? Remember this guy? They're talking about this. This guy here with his car door. Okay, I told you that the RCMP were going to throw the book at him. I told you that that cop was going to be charged with assault, probably assault with a weapon. He was going to be thrown under the bus. He was going to be done. They were going to use him as an example. And I was completely wrong. I got an article sent to me the other day. News article. And it made me smile. I smiled when I read that that police officer is not going to face criminal charges. It made me, I mean, I didn't like smile like crazy, but It was a smirk. It was a smirk. It made me happy. It made me happy to see that a member. 2020 has been shit. And to see a win. It was a win. It was a win for police and the RCMP. And I like that. The member articulated that it was an accident. That the member said he didn't mean for that to happen. And when I seen the video, I kind of had that in the back of my mind. I kind of had in the back of my mind that maybe possibly that was an accident. What happened was this member articulates basically that he did not mean to push him over with a car door. I believe it. I fully believe that what he's saying is the truth. Here's the thing. When you look at the video, okay, you're in a car. While you're driving, you open up the door. That door stays there. The moment you hit the brakes, that door becomes a slingshot. And that's kind of that's exactly what happened here, because the cop said it was a mistake, it was an accident, didn't mean for that guy to fall down from the car door opening up and hitting him. And I believe it. Good articulation. I never go to sleep before 11 o'clock at night, ever. Last night I did. And I crashed. The woman was working. She worked till 11. She came home. I was sound asleep. Laying in bed around 11:45, the wife wakes me up and says, "Clint, there's somebody underneath our deck. We are building a deck right now. It's gigantic. It's about 55 feet in length. It's huge. Our bedroom is here. The deck extends off the bedroom, and she could hear somebody underneath the deck in the carport area." So I get up. I'm just wearing my ginch. I go out onto the deck. I stand in the middle of the deck because I know bad guy is down below. Down below stealing my shit. And I want to scare him off. I don't have any weapons. I'm in my ginch. I don't know how that's scary. So I try to use a scary voice. So I say, "What you doing, motherfucker?" And I thought to myself, why are you trying to act black or talk black? What you doing, mother? What is that? Would you be scared? Have you heard me say that? Wearing ginch and no shirt. So I'm staring out into the backyard while I said my big, scary statement. And the biggest bear takes off from the back of our yard. It was a bear. I'm thinking, what the hell? Shouldn't bears be asleep right now? It's Christmas time. Shouldn't they be? And I started thinking, you were a cop for the majority of your working life, and that's your best comment. You've trained your entire life for that moment, and you say, "What you doing, motherfucker?" You don't even take a bat with you. You take nothing with you. You got no weapons. There's things that I can't say anymore because I'm not a cop, and that really sucks. I miss that part about being a cop. Like I couldn't say, "Police, put your arms behind your back." Like throw out anything. Who knows? Maybe they will. It's happened a couple of times in my career. Like thinking if it was a bad guy, right? Not a bear. But I can't even do that anymore. Because I'd be impersonating a cop and I can't say, "Police." I could just say, I don't even know what I would say. I could have, "Former cop, put your hands behind your back, do it now." That doesn't work. Former cop. I got this wallet. I don't got it with me, but it's got a fake badge. I can't even really open up my wallet and go, "Fake police here. Stop doing what you're doing." You know what I mean? I can't do that. Last year, I go down to pick up my son, I think he was 9 at the time. And there was a girl, a young girl. She's about 15. She's a badass girl, one of those girls that's in a group home and doesn't live with mom and dad. And she's badass. She's bad news. and she was trying to steal kids' bikes. I go down there, I pick up my son, he tells me about it. All my son's friends tell me about that she's trying to steal the bike. She's right there. So I give her a bit of a lecture. Hey, were you trying to steal somebody's bike? You were trying to, maybe you should just skedaddle home and call it a day. She turns to me and goes, what are you, a cop? And I'm like, no. I used to be. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? I wanted to say, yeah, I am. But I can't say that. I can't even say that anymore. It's impersonating a cop. It sucks. Even though I got a badge, but it's fake. So strange. You're a cop for like 20 years. You retire. And you're a civilian just like that. And you can't even say it anymore. Some of the best moments I ever had was opening up my wallet at paying for my bill at the Cactus Club. You know what I mean? I was proud of it. Oh, you're a cop. They would see the badge, right? And I wanted them to see it. I loved being a cop. People knowing. Felt good. Like, yeah. While you sleep. Somebody's got to do it, right? I'm out there protecting you. It was a good conversation. Now it's like, now I hide it. Because, well, no. I'm retired now. Oh, what do you do now? I'm a YouTuber. That's weird. Yeah, I know. You know, there's no good conversation when you're paying the bill anymore. Anyways, just thought I'd share that bear story with you. I did a video about PTSD, RCMP PTSD. I wish I remembered the title of it. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. It's one of my earlier videos. I like the video. But in that video, I said the RCMP aren't doing anything about PTSD. They aren't doing anything, and they won't ever do anything. They say they're doing stuff, but they're not doing nothing. Promise me, I promise you, they're doing nothing. Not a thing. And I talked about how the commissioner is coming out with a study. It's going to be a longitudinal study, first of its kind. And I was proving the point that they're not going to do anything, and they're not going to do anything for many years to come. I'm on the internet yesterday, and I found this video. And you know what? I was wrong. They are doing stuff. And I'm going to show you this video. This is what's going to help with mental illness. RCMP and mental illness. Mental health. PTSD. This video, guys, this video is a game changer. This is how we're going to battle PTSD.
Navigating the road to mental wellness is a journey that is unique to everyone. Plan your route.
That's going to fix it. Plan your route. I got to watch it again. I'm sorry. I got to watch it again.
Navigating the road to mental wellness is a journey that is unique to everyone. Plan your route.
That's how you do it. You plan your route, guys. See, they're doing shit. They are doing stuff. You know what scares me about this video? I recognize the name Kristen Streifel. That's scary that I recognize that name from somewhere. But I wanted to share that with you because I was obviously wrong again. They're telling you to plan your route. Why wouldn't you, right? That's good advice.
Navigating the road to mental wellness is a journey that is unique to everyone.
It's unique to everyone. Plan your route. Don't you feel better already? See, they're doing shit. It's actually another video, another quick video. You want to see this one? It's about the same thing. Game changer. This one is definitely a game changer. Listen up. Watch this.
1 in 5 Canadians will experience struggles with mental health. Remember, we're Canadian too.
I feel fixed. I feel healthier from watching these videos. Good job, guys. Good job. And that's from K Division. They got a website. Anybody can go to it. They got a selection of videos and very informative. And I feel partly healed from watching those 2 short clips. I gotta watch it again. Just can't believe this.
1 in 5 Canadians will experience struggles with mental health.
Oh.
Remember, we're Canadian too.
Remember, we're Canadian too. Okay. It's good to see they're on the correct path. Helping everyone in need. You're in good hands, guys. Good hands. Let's take a call, okay? Let's take a few calls, guys. Okay? Take a few calls. Thank you for calling 604-330-2512. I've been getting a lot of calls from recruits. People that want to become cops. Keep it up. I love it. I do. Was I going to say anything about that? Yeah, I love the calls. When I was trying to become a cop, I had nobody to bounce questions off of. Isn't that strange that you can't just pick up the phone and go, hey, like recruiting or anybody, and get a direct answer? I'm not saying I know all the answers. I know a couple. But I wish when I was going through the process that I'd just call somebody up and go, this is what I did wrong in my life. Should I even bother? You know what I mean? You never get a direct answer if you did that. Everyone's different. We look at each person differently.
Hi, Clint. This is Dan calling.
Dan.
I'm currently an applicant for the RCMP.
Dan, currently an applicant for the RCMP. Thanks for calling, man. Let's turn that up. What's your question, dude?
A quick question for you that's kind of relevant for right now. So you have to fill out the questionnaire that the polygraph's based on.
I used to work in recruiting, and I would review these questionnaires. I know exactly what you're talking about. Pre-employment, such and such, thingy-dingy.
I basically have to submit it by next week.
Uh-oh, it's already next week. You might have already submitted it, but you're going to be okay.
And then, go through the interview process. So the only really concern that I have is, excuse me, under one of the questions it asks, have you ever worked while receiving EI or not declared, income to the CRA? Now, the answer to that question is no, I have not.
Okay, good.
But I just want to know how to be perfectly truthful about the answer, because I have worked while receiving EI, but I wasn't paid for the work. I essentially volunteered my time to a friend who was building his home, in exchange for him teaching me the ropes and how to build a home and whatnot for a very short period of time. So do you think I should say yes or no, being fully truthful, but without, giving more information than I really need to?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, Clint, thank you very much. I really appreciate your podcast. I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope you keep making them. I love them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. I love that you love them. And the answer's no. Just tick off no. People think too much with this questionnaire. You're thinking too much. Just answer the question. Don't read into it. They just want to know if you're double dipping. Did you ever collect EI? Not report it to EI. Have another job. Not report your earnings to CRA, because you're not allowed to do that. Stuff like that. You're allowed. You're allowed to be on EI and still collect money. A certain amount, I believe. EI is not a bad thing. It's funny. A lot of people think EI is a bad thing. I come from a logging town. When I logged, when my parents logged, my brother logged, my grandfathers logged, I think they had EI back then. But when the snow hit, you couldn't work anymore. So you would go on EI. EI is not a bad thing. I brought that up in my interview. I told them about EI. Don't read too much into these questions, guys. And yes, you're allowed to work on your buddy's house while you collect EI, just like you're allowed to renovate your own home while you collect EI. You're good. Don't go into great depth if you don't have to. Just tick no. Okay, that's the correct answer. But I hear what you're saying. I want to be honest. I want to be as honest as I can. I had people be so honest with me. Should I say this again? That they would say they engaged in bestiality when they actually didn't. Because back then, bestiality was actually the penetration of the penis into grandma's dogs. And I had a guy. Why am I talking about this again? Jessup. Called him up and he had some weird shit to say that he did with his grandmother's dogs, his fingers. And everything he told me wasn't bestiality. He didn't even have to tell me it. I won't say any more about that. But isn't it funny? I couldn't wrap my head around some of the things that happen in recruiting. I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to have consensual sex with a hooker. Even though it's legal in Vegas, you're not allowed to do it because it's illegal in Canada. So that was their thinking. If it's illegal in Canada and you went to Vegas and you had sex with a hooker, even though it's consensual, you were still committing a crime. I don't know why. But people weren't getting in over that. And I just couldn't wrap my head around that. You can't pay for a consensual BJ, but you can 69 your grandmother's dogs. I couldn't wrap my head around that one. You can't have sex with a human being, but where's your turtle? You know what I mean? I couldn't. Anyways, back to the questionnaire. Just take it easy. Take it easy. Thanks for your call, dude. Any other questions, give me a call, okay? I hope I answered it. Yeah, well, the answer's no. See what this dude has to say.
Hi, Quentin. My name is Jack. I live in Langley, BC.
Jack. Langley. I love Langley. I wish I still lived in Langley. I had a beautiful rancher in Langley in Walnut Grove. 214 B Street. 94 such and such. Why don't I have that house anymore? Hey, let me tell you. I'm gonna give you some, guys. I'm gonna give you some advice. If you want to become a cop, let's say you become a cop. Your first day at work, you're brand new. You're a cop. Start thinking about retirement right away. Plan your retirement right away. Plan for early retirement right away. I wish I would have thought that. Retiring earlier. Well, I did think that. That's why I retired early. Okay. Isn't that right? Yeah. I wish I could do things differently. I wish I still had that house in Langley. I should have. If you can afford some kind of building, some kind of living thingy in the Lower Mainland, example, you go to Chilliwack, you get posted in Chilliwack, you get enough money to buy a house, you get transferred, let's say, to Abbotsford or Langley. Do whatever you can to hold on to that house in Chilliwack. If I would have held on to that house in Langley, it would have been very, very beneficial. I could have rented it out. I then moved to Abbotsford, bought a house in Abbotsford. I wish I still had those houses. Do whatever you can to set yourself up. financially. Whatever you can. I worked with a guy in Duncan, and he worked overtime all the time. His house is paid off in Surrey right now. He did it. He figured out a way, worked his ass off, figured out a way. There's things out there. There's things out there that you can do. Remember when we got our severance pay? I took my severance pay and I put it into Facebook stock. It dipped down to $17, went up to $23. I bought Facebook stock. I don't know why I'm talking about this. There's just things you could do, things you can think about your retirement when you become a cop. Who was this guy? What was his name? Jack? Okay.
I just recently found your videos on YouTube, and I find your videos very interesting and informative. And I appreciate your insight and thought through your own experiences with the RCMP. I'm just calling because I have a few questions about the RCMP recruitment and the pre-employment process, and maybe you have some advice for me. I've always wanted to be a police officer, and it's only now at the age of 29 that I wish to actively pursue a career. The RCMP has always been an interest of mine since being a kid, and now I want to make that a reality, but I just want to take the necessary steps to make it a reality. My friends and family have always said I would make a great police officer.
Okay.
My only concern is the application process for anyone who feels they'd be a great candidate, but have had some history with drug use.
Jack, I might edit this part out because you're about to go on for another minute about. Oh, I'm going to play it right now, but I might edit this out.
Now, keep in mind, for myself, I'm only talking about marijuana. I've never used cocaine, MDMA, or any other hard illicit drug.
Okay.
Just marijuana. And although I plan to be completely honest and transparent in my questionnaire regarding my past, I still worry what's there would be considered a red flag and my application ends up getting tossed. Even if it's just something as minor as marijuana, consumption or possession, even though it's legalized now. Is this something I should be worried about disclosing? And should I even bother continuing this application process? Or have I just done myself in with my actions from the past? Also, is prior marijuana use among officers is marijuana use among officers a common discovery in applicants? I know you worked in recruitment for a while, specifically with these questionnaires, so I feel your insight would provide some great tips and information prior to diving deeper into this process myself. Thanks again for taking my call and keep up the great videos. I will keep watching. Thanks.
I just edited a lot of that out because I want to save you from putting it on the air. Yeah, a lot of people got gonged because of marijuana use. It was back when marijuana was illegal. And if they had smoked it recently, they were gonged. They were asked to apply down the road, later on down the road. If you hang out with people back then that smoked marijuana, if you had a buddy that smoked marijuana, a cousin that smoked marijuana, you hung out with these people, gone, gonged. That was like the number one thing that eliminated people from the process. Because a lot of the applicants were younger, and of course they were around marijuana. Who didn't smoke marijuana? If you didn't, you knew somebody else that did, and you hung out with those people. So they got gonged. Now you're asking me if you should continue on with the process. Now I didn't air what you said, but you basically said that you've done marijuana when it was illegal. And you just stopped doing it for the past month. If the RCMP, if they were smart, they would hear what you had to say and they would hire you, no issues. But I don't know. And this can change tomorrow. I think you're up against a battle. I think you're going to have difficulty with this. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to go through the process. But I'll tell you, the process can be kind of expensive. I know a guy that is close to me. It sucks that they just can't tell you, right? You just want to know, should I bother? There's nobody out there that can just say yes or no. There's nobody that you can go to ask that question. And sometimes I think that the recruiting process is a little bit backwards. I know a guy that's close to me that, went and got his eyes fixed, got laser eye surgery to become a cop, right? Did all these other things, had surgery on his body to fix something. He went through a lot of pain, a lot of money. It's not cheap going through the process sometimes. I went through it I tried to pass that test 5 times. I think I passed it on the 5th time. But each time I had to get an eye check. That was like $50. I had to get tutors because I wasn't so good at English and math. Your history, you stopped doing it a month ago. And you like doing it. You really like doing it. You know what? You got nothing to lose to try. Go through it. Don't have your heart set on it. And see what happens. Maybe you come across a smart recruiter, even though they're bound by certain rules. Maybe okay. So that guy I was telling you about, he did all these things, and he finally gets his interview, and they fail him because of his drug use. They don't mind when you're a kid. And you can do cocaine. And all that other shit that you're talking about when you're a kid. Because it's called experimental. They're fine with experimental. But if you do that at age 20, and then you stop, and then do it at age 40, it's no longer experimental. This is their thinking. So, out you go. I know marijuana is legal now, but I don't know. They're going to look at it, and they're going to say, well, you committed. Hi. Can you shut the door? They're going to say you committed 10,000 crimes. Maybe I'm wrong. I went to an orientation after I became a cop. Do you know what an orientation is? Before you write the test or do anything, you go to an orientation for about an hour or 2 hours. Cops talk to an audience of applicants, potential applicants. You go to this thing. And I remember somebody asked I was already a cop. Somebody else close to me wanted to become a cop. And somebody asked the question about marijuana, and the cop said, it was back when marijuana was illegal. They said, if you smoked marijuana 100 times, you committed 100 criminal acts. The RCMP need heartbeats right now. They need heartbeats. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. See what happens. They need members right now. Maybe they need members like you. Yes, you have life experience. You're around 30 now. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Should you even bother? Because it's scary. You do all this stuff. You go to your interview. And you fail your interview, and it's all over for you, basically. And that could have happened to me. I took criminology. I went on ride-alongs. That cost me thousands upon thousands of dollars. The schooling to become a cop, and I could have failed the interview over something. And that really sucked. It really sucked. You know what sucked? There was a guy named Jazzy. We were in criminology together. First year criminology. Like, we're young kids. Young. And he's not white. Okay? I'm white. I'm a white man. as we're in criminology, he tells me he's going to depot. So he quit school and became a cop like that. Like, holy shit. I've written the test. He wrote the test. The biggest hurdle for me was the test. It was the test. It was like 10 years later. Now, little less, maybe 9 or 8. I can't remember now. But a lot of years later that I finally got to depot, and I think he was already a corporal. And it was because of that damn test. They didn't care that I had criminology. They only cared all that stuff, or ride-alongs, or knew a lot about the police. All that stuff happens when you have the interview. What'd you do to prepare for the RCMP? That's when that comes into. It's too bad they didn't look at that with the exam. I finally got a good mark on that exam. And I was told, word for word, Clint, we're only taking 65 white guys this year, and your mark is not high enough. You needed a couple more points. They changed the test. I took the new test. I got a 3.8. I think it was around 3.8. They send me a letter and it says, sorry, we're only taking white males that have a 4 or above. Everyone else, girls, minorities, needed a 3.2 to go to the next level, which was basically the next level was the interview. So it took me forever. I gave up. After I wrote that final test. I knew I wasn't going to get a 4 ever. That was the best mark I was ever going to get. There's no point of me writing that test again. And back then you were only allowed to write it once a year. But they needed heartbeats. So a year had passed. And they sent me the letter saying, we've reduced the mark for white male. And yeah, you can have an interview now. And that's what happened. I went and became a cop. But I wasn't going to. I'd given up. I was going to be a news anchor. Something silly like that. And yeah, that's my story. What's my point to the story? It's too bad that they didn't look at me and go, hey, okay. It's too bad they didn't look at the test mark, look at what this kid has done to try to become a cop, and then gave you the interview. The largest hurdle for me was that damn test. That damn test. Some people will say, well, that's not fair. That's not fair that the white male back then. And you know what? That might change one day. 5 or 10 years down the road. They might start going, here's the thing. Let's say you go to an RCMP orientation. There's 100 people there. Most of those people are white. They're white men. There'd be a handful that are girls. And a small amount that are indigenous. By the way, there needs to be more women in the RCMP, and there needs to be more indigenous people in the RCMP. There were so many times when I was a cop, when I'd go to a call and I would think, man, I wish there was a girl here, a woman police officer. I won't get into it. It's just, I was impressed with a lot of women police officers. And the nicest people I've ever met my entire life have been indigenous members. Why did I just say that? So you go to the orientation, you got a handful of women, you got a few indigenous people, and the instructor at the orientation, or the cop that's instructing the orientation, will tell you maybe 6 or 7 out of these 100 will actually become cops. I remember them telling me that. Now, how many of those 6 or 7, because there's so many white people, are actually going to be women and indigenous people? So they have to lower. They have to lower the test mark. They have to lower the qualifications. It was higher for white people and lower for minority groups and women because they weren't applying. So what do you do? But because they need so many cops now, that the white male only needs 3.2 now. 3.2 on the test. The qualifications are across the board. But I understood their logic, and I don't blame them for it. I never, ever felt really discriminated about it. Imagine if the roles were reversed, though. Holy shit, look out. Could you imagine? I don't know, dude. I don't know if I answered your question. There were some people that... I remember girls at the orientation in Courtney. I shouldn't tell this story. They would go just to meet guys. True story. One needed a ride home, and I was able to give her a ride home. She didn't even want to become a cop. No, I just like writing the test. Yeah, right. That was weird. Oh. No, I'm not going to say any more about that. I don't know. People are watching this. Maybe somebody in recruiting will make a comment, and maybe they'll say, "Hey, we don't give a shit that you used to do marijuana. We don't care how long you did it for." But I just know them, and I know they're going to have some kind of issue with it. But maybe somebody will be watching this that's from recruitment or had a similar experience, and they'll leave a comment. Next call.
Hello, Clinton Jaws. This is Evelyn Duran. I'm very supportive in all of your videos.
I'm very supportive. Thank you, Evelyn. Hey, I've seen your comments, and thank you for your support.
I am not an RCMP and never been any kind of a police officer. However, you seem to understand the laws quite well, and I sure could. I've got a lot of questions that I've been posting to you, but I'm not getting the answers.
Best way to get answers is doing what you just did. Give me a call. Let's see what her question is.
But I'm going through the same stuff in a really brutal labor dispute, which is criminal. However, I'm just wondering if Canadians should start arming themselves to protect themselves because the crime has gotten so high in Canada.
Arming themselves? Are you asking me you want to arm yourself because of your labor dispute? No, the answer is no, don't.
It's extreme, I guess, or maybe it was always like that and we just didn't know as civilians. Can you give me some light on that? Thank you for your time. God bless you. My number is 587-723. Let's protect themselves because...
Sorry, guys. I don't know what her question is.
Because the crime has gotten... However, I'm just wondering if Canadians should start arming themselves to protect themselves because the crime has gotten...
Should Canadians start arming themselves to protect themselves? I can't answer that question. I guess the answer is no. Don't arm yourself, Evelyn, okay? Especially while you're going through a labor dispute, the criminal side of a labor dispute. And I'm sorry to hear that, actually, that you're going through that. Should Canadians arm themselves? Well, maybe the answer is yes. You might have a bear in your backyard, right? Instead of going out there in your underwear or your ginch, you go out there with a shotgun. I feel fairly safe in Canada. I feel pretty safe in Canada. But I understand why Americans have armed themselves and they have the right to basically firearms. I understand that. There's a lot of guns down there. If I lived in America, I'd want a gun. When I go out, I would want to carry a gun. That's how I would feel living in America. So I get it. I get that they like their firearms down there. And yeah, I'm not going to say if I have firearms or not. I'm not going to put that out there. I got to talk honest here. I would feel safer with firearms in this house. I would feel safer, absolutely. What do you do when somebody breaks into... it happens so rarely. But a home invasion? I hear somebody breaking into my house? I would want to have a gun to protect myself. Should Canadians arm themselves? Well, Canadians can arm. If you really want to arm yourself, you can arm yourself, right? You go take a little course and you get access. You could go buy a shotgun. Is that a dumb thing to do? No, I don't think so. I don't think it is. I hope I answered your question. I don't know. Thanks for your calls, guys. I probably shouldn't have mentioned that girl that went to the orientation, but I liked her proactivity. It was good to see. I hope I answered those. I don't know why they were so tough for me to answer. I guess they're tough topics. Tough topics. I know I'm going to review this and go, shit, man, why didn't you just say this? Why didn't you just say that? Instead of, see, I think too much. And when you do the pre-employment questionnaire, don't think too much. Don't overly think it. Yes, they want honesty. But, you know, you don't have to say everything like you stole a pack of jujubes when you were 8 years old or something like that, right? Don't go crazy. Things are going to stand out, and then they'll give you a call and they'll talk to you about some of the questions that you ticked off. I remember telling my recruiter that I bounced a check once. And she just about shit herself. She's like, what? You bounced a check? I'm like, yeah. Is it bad? Is that... Well, tell me the story. And it's true. It was a true story. I bounced a check. I went, it's so stupid. Why would I even write a check? It was a math tutor. I had a math tutor. A young girl. And this is such bullshit. That test, when they tell you it's basic math. Oh, yeah, right. Right? Basic math. Basic math is 12 plus 3. That's basic math. And it wasn't like that. But I wrote her a check, $20 check, because I didn't have any money on me. And thinking that she's going to take the check for my tutor lessons. She's going to take that check. But what had happened, I didn't have $20 in my account. I had like 18. I didn't know. So the check bounced. It's an example of an honest story. Of course, if I knew that there was no money in my account, then that would have been a fraudulent check that I wrote. And that's the stuff they're looking for. You know what? I'm going to make up for this video. This is morning. It's morning time. And I'm going to do one later. Because I got to make up for this stumbling. I'm going to come down here tonight with a glass of wine. And what day is it today? No, it's not the weekend. With a beer. I'm going to come down with a beer. That's what I'm going to do. And call the hotline number, guys. 604-330-2512. And bye-bye.